Have you ever seen the Labubu doll? These are some of the most terrifying dolls that anyone has ever seen. These dolls have eyes that will stare into your very soul. Let's get started. Number 10. The origin. The story behind the Labubu doll is one that dates back quite a few years. It all began with an artist who was inspired to make a doll that looked like a real-life child. What he didn't expect was for the doll to become such a sensation. Many believe these creepy-looking dolls were made in a secret underground lab where scientists experimented on them, trying to make them look and act more like real humans. This is why they're called the Labubu dolls. They were created in a laboratory somewhere in Eastern Europe, specifically in Poland. The exact year is not known, but it was sometime in the early 1990s. The man behind the dolls was an engineer named Walter Obara. He worked in a top-secret Polish military lab, Project Labubu. His job was to create lifelike androids that could be used by the army. But there was a problem. The government kept rejecting his prototypes because they didn't look realistic enough. So he decided to try something different. He would build a doll that looked just like a little girl. He wanted to create something so realistic it would be indistinguishable from a real human child. And after several years of work, he finally succeeded. The dolls he created were eerily similar to young girls. They had blinking eyes, movable arms and legs, and they even responded to verbal commands. However, the government still wasn't interested in these dolls, and Walter was forced to close down his lab. Number 9. The Labubu doll today. After being abandoned by the Polish government, the Labubu dolls were sold to a traveling carnival where they were displayed as freak show attractions. For years, the dolls were moved from place to place, never staying in one spot for too long. People would pay admission for the carnival by bringing a child and then feeding that child to the dolls. Well, at least that's how the rumor goes. No one knows exactly what happened to the dolls after Walter Obara closed his lab, though. Some say they were put on display in a museum, while others claim they were taken to a junkyard and left to rot. There are even rumors that the dolls escaped their containment area and are now running loose in the forest outside of Warsaw. Whatever the case may be, no one has laid eyes on a Labubu doll in decades. Or have they? In recent years, dolls that bear an uncanny resemblance to the original Labubu dolls have appeared online. These dolls are made of silicone and have realistic skin and hair. They also have moving eyes and mouths, as well as the ability to speak and interact with their surroundings. It's unclear whether or not these dolls are connected to the original Labubu dolls, but they certainly are creepy. No. 8. The doll that walked. In 2016, a viral video emerged online claiming to show a live Labubu doll walking around on its own. The video was shaky and taken at night, showing what seems to be a dark alleyway. A figure can be seen walking towards the camera. It doesn't seem to have a face, and it turns and walks away. Some believe this is a real Labubu doll that somehow came to life. However, many believe it's just a person in a costume. The person behind the doll could be simply walking down an alleyway. The fact that it was recorded at night makes the person appear darker and distorted. As for the head, maybe the person was wearing a hoodie or something to cover their face. Who's to say? The truth is, without more evidence, we can't say for sure if this is a real Labubu doll that came to life or just a person in a costume. Number 7. Are they real? In recent years, several people have come forward claiming to own a Labubu doll. However, none of these dolls have been proven to be authentic. One man claimed to own the very first Labubu doll ever created by Walter Obara himself. He said the doll was incredibly realistic and looked just like a real little girl. He said the doll's eyes were so realistic that they scared him, so he got rid of them. Now, before you think this guy is crazy, there are a few things you need to keep in mind. First of all, he didn't just come out of nowhere. He's been researching the Labubu dolls for years and has written extensively about them. Secondly, he has never tried to sell the doll or make money off of it in any way. He simply wants to share his knowledge about these dolls with the world. Lastly, there are a lot of inconsistencies in the stories about the Labubu dolls. We don't know for sure how many dolls were created or what happened to them all. It's possible that this man really does own an authentic Labubu doll, but we'll never know for sure. No. 6. An abandoned house. According to some reports, a house in the middle of nowhere is rumored to be filled with Labubu dolls. Apparently, the house was abandoned years ago by its owner, who was rumored to be experimenting with creating lifelike androids. The house is said to be filled with all sorts of strange and creepy dolls, as well as other oddities. Many urban explorers have tried to find this house, but its exact location remains unknown. Some say it doesn't even exist at all. Those who claim it does say it is hidden deep within the woods, and that anyone who finds it should be careful. After all, you never know what might be lurking inside. The creepy part is that there have been several reports of people going missing after entering this house. Some believe they were taken by the doll maker, or worse, turned into dolls themselves. There's no way to prove these claims, though. Perhaps those who went into the house simply got lost or were kidnapped by someone other than the doll maker. It's also possible that the house doesn't even exist, and the rumors are just a hoax. Regardless, it's best to stay away from any abandoned houses in the middle of nowhere. You never know what might be hiding inside. No. 5. The silent scream. One of the most terrifying aspects of the Labubu dolls is their eyes. Their eyes are said to be so realistic that they seem to stare directly into your soul. Many people report feeling an overwhelming sense of dread and fear when they look into the eyes of a Labubu doll. Some even claim to have seen the dolls blinking or moving their eyes independently. Now, it is important to note that there is no scientific evidence to support the claim that Labubu dolls have moving eyes or that they can control their movements. However, there are many anecdotal accounts from people who have claimed to experience strange things when around these dolls. Perhaps these reports are simply the result of suggestibility or pareidolia, which is the tendency for humans to perceive meaningful patterns in random stimuli. However, it's also possible that these dolls do have some sort of supernatural properties. After all, there are plenty of stories about haunted dolls and other objects. Maybe the Labubu dolls are simply cursed or possessed by evil spirits. Whatever the case may be, many people report feeling uneasy and disturbed when around these dolls. No. 4. Experiment 77. One of the most disturbing legends surrounding the Labubu dolls is the so-called Experiment 77. The story goes that Walter Abura and his team of scientists at Project Labubu conducted a series of experiments on the dolls to see how they would react. One of the experiments involved showing the dolls a variety of images and sounds and then recording their responses. However, during one of the tests, something went terribly wrong. One of the dolls reportedly began to scream at the top of its lungs, startling the scientists and technicians working on the project. Some say that the doll was simply malfunctioning and that its screams were nothing more than a mechanical error. Others believe that the doll became sentient and was trying to communicate with its creators. There are even rumors that the doll broke free from its restraints and attacked one of the scientists. But we don't know if this is true or not. Whatever the case may be, the incident is said to have been covered up by the Polish government, and all records of it have since been sealed. 3. The curse. As with many creepy dolls, there is a curse associated with the Labubu dolls. Legend has it that anyone who comes into contact with one of the dolls will eventually go insane. Some say the dolls are possessed by demons or other evil entities, while others believe that they're simply cursed by the evil thoughts of those who have made them. Whatever the case may be, many people report experiencing strange and disturbing things after coming into contact with the dolls. Some say they've seen the dolls moving on their own, while others claim to have heard them talking or whispering to them. There are even reports of people being physically harmed by the dolls, with scratches and bruises appearing out of nowhere. Of course, these claims cannot be verified, and there is no evidence to support them. But that doesn't mean they aren't true. After all, there are plenty of stories about cursed dolls and other objects that have been passed down through folklore for centuries. Maybe the Labubu dolls are simply following in this long tradition. Number 2. Captured on camera. Over the years, there have been several supposed sightings of the Labubu dolls on camera. Most of these sightings are blurry and inconclusive, but there are a few that stand out. One of the most compelling images of a Labubu doll was captured by a security camera in an abandoned house. The image shows what appears to be a little girl walking down a hallway. She seems to have no face. Another image captured by a security camera in an abandoned building shows what looks like a group of Labubu dolls standing in a corner. The dolls appear to be staring directly at the camera. Now, skeptics might say that these images are simply the result of pareidolia, or that they've been photoshopped. However, there are a lot of images like this, and it's hard to believe that they all fake. Maybe the Labubu dolls are real, and they're watching us from the shadows. No, one, still out there. If you thought the story of the Labubu dolls was over, think again. There are rumors that some of the dolls escaped their containment area and are still out there somewhere. Some say they're living in the woods near Warsaw, while others believe they've found their way into our society and are living among us undetected. If this is true, then there could be dozens or even hundreds of Labubu dolls out there. Just imagine coming home from work one day and finding one of these dolls sitting in your house. It would be a nightmare come true. Of course, there's no evidence that the dolls have actually escaped, but that doesn't mean it's not possible. After all, these dolls are incredibly realistic, and they're said to be able to move and talk like humans. It's not hard to imagine them blending in if they really tried. Thanks for watching. Do you believe in the Labubu dolls? Let me know your thoughts. See you next time. Bye.